today we're going to be learning how to play the basic beat on the drums. So the beat I was just playing right now wasn't the basic beat, but I am going to teach it to you, and I'm going to break it down in step-by-step form, so you guys can hopefully learn how to play it by the end of the video. So today we have an audience today. Is my friend Lala right here on the right with the hat backwards. Dude over there is Ricky, the Yankees hat unfortunately. And the guy recording, which you guys can't see, is Justin. So they'll be my audience for today. So before I go into defining each of the drums and what they are, I just want to real briefly talk to you guys about how to hold the drumsticks and how you want to hold them as a relation to firmness and looseness. So pretty much the way you know you're holding the drumstick good is when you let it go off your hands and you hit a drum, it should give it a little bit of a rattle. So something like this. That's what you should get a sound like. If you're holding it too low at the bottom, you'll get a dead sound. It's not what you want. Or if you hold it too high, it's going to take forever. That's not what you want either. So you want it somewhere, in the middle where you get that maybe a little rattle sound. For the bass drum, when you're kicking it over here, you want to make sure you have your heel up and your toes on it, so you can get that good flexibility out of it. So you can get this motion right there, so you can get that reflex off every time you hit the bass drum. So now that you guys know how to hold the drumsticks and how to kick the drum, let's go through each of the drums and define them. So the first part we have here is going to be the hi-hat. It sounds like this. Next part is going to be your snare drum right here. It sounds like this. Next down here, the biggest drum, we have the bass, which sounds like this. Up here we have our two head toms, and down over here we have a floor tom, and they each sound like this. Up here finally we have our right cymbal, which sounds like this. Alright, so now that you guys got the parts of the drum set down, let's go into the basic beat and breaking it down. So the first part of the basic beat is going to be your hi-hat. And this is the most important part because this is what's going to keep a melody throughout the whole beat. Now what you do with this, you're going to be hitting this in counts of 4, meaning you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now that you got that part down, you're going to do counts of 4. On every third count, every time you hit number 3, you're going to hit the snare simultaneously. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'll be the snare part. After you've incorporated the snare into it, you want to add the bass drum to it. And the bass is going to come on the very first note. So when you hit that 1 on the hi-hat, you're going to be hitting the bass as well. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So once again, on the third note, you're going to add the snare. On the very first note, you'll be adding the bass. So now that you guys know each part step by step, let's start incorporating them. So let's start with the snare, with the hi-hat, and then we'll add the snare to it. So it'll go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be your hi-hat. Next, you add your snare on the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that you got the snare, the last part is going to be the bass. Remember, the bass is going to be the very first note, so it should sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you got to put them all together, but make sure you play slow the first time so you can hear yourself playing it and make sure you're doing it right. So all together now, you should get a sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now you got it all together. So now that you know how you do that, to recap, there's going to be the most important part. Make sure that you hit this right at a steady beat, because that's going to keep a melody throughout the whole beat itself. So you remember, you're going to hit this 4 times consistently. You never stop hitting this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. On every third note, you're going to have the snare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bass is going to be the very first note you hit. So, with enough practice and enough timing, that's what the basic beat should sound like. Now obviously you can play it faster, but I recommend you play slower at first because that's going to be critical to your timing every time you play a beat from now on. So make sure you repeat it a lot. Repetition is key. Timing, it's no such thing as going too slow. So if you want to go as slow as, that's perfectly fine, because the most important thing is timing and repetition. So make sure you go through it slow the first couple times, and as soon as you feel comfortable with your pace, you can go ahead and step it up a little bit more. But just remember, repetition and timing, you'll be good from there. And that's how you guys play the basic beat.